Hi everyone, good morning. I am very excited to be able to tell you about the NetZero Token Network and NZT Token today. Firstly, a little bit about myself. My name is Phillip Kopp and I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've been building companies and products for the last 25 years. At the age of 29, I sold my first company. It was one of the world's market leaders in energy management solutions for the hotel industry. And we sold that company to the Somfy Group, which is one of the largest, but was publicly listed French automation companies in Europe. And after that, went on as an elected director and COO at Somfy for several years before starting my next big project, which is a company called Cloudbeds. Cloudbeds is one of the largest hotel room distribution platforms in the world. It's funded by SoftBank Vision Fund, several $100 million in funding and valuation. I went on to create something called Connectric Networks. Connectric Networks is a deep technology company building wireless protocols and communications for IoT devices with a focus on the energy space. Connectric Networks is a company that was funded through the California Energy Commission and a project partnered with Tesla and the U.S. Department of Defense. And with Connectric, we were able to write 13 patents for artificial intelligence and prediction systems to be able to predict the needs and demands of our energy systems now with having so many rooftop solar panels and electric vehicles. And we've now started to develop the NetZero Token and NetZero Token Network. It's probably the most important project that I've ever been involved in, and certainly one of my favorites to work on. The NetZero Token is an incentive solution to help guide people and businesses on how to become more sustainable. It helps them understand feedback and with financial incentives, how their actions are contributing to making the world a more sustainable place. I can tell you the top three, touch points of what makes NZT so exciting is, first of all, it's a project that gets all people everywhere involved and compensated for sustainability. Secondly, it's a project that is an on-ramp for all people everywhere to get into the Web3 space. And third, it's a tremendous business in terms of being able to provide services and utility in the energy field. There's something called the Paris Climate Accords and the Kyoto Protocol, where governments and countries around the world got together and decided that we need to really take a serious effort at reducing our carbon emissions in order to help make the world more sustainable for our future generations. And unfortunately, it's very difficult for most people to understand how to participate in that, even though it is already a $1 trillion per year market and actually growing substantially because the need to decarbonize, the investment needed is literally in the hundreds of trillions of dollars. So if we're to do this anytime soon, anytime in the next 10 to 20 years, we really need to be able to invest very large amounts of capital. And so that's what we created NZT to do, is to deliver incentives that will reward people for doing the right thing. The NetZero Token is really was born out of analyzing and trying to understand both the successes and failures of the helium network that many people are probably familiar with. And what Helium did was they built the world's largest IoT network very, very quickly using HNT rewards as the basis for doing that. Unfortunately, where that failed was there really wasn't any use cases or demand for that network after it was built. So in our case, we're building the NetZero Token Network based on a similar model where NZT rewards are provided to participants for joining the network and providing utility in the form of providing nodes and data mining their energy data, which is how we get to the carbon emissions reductions. So those NZT rewards get distributed to our network users for joining in and participating in the network in a similar way. Where that leads to, as people decarbonize, as we measure their carbon reductions from their energy data mining, they get provided a second performance reward that comes in the form of a digital carbon certificate. And that digital carbon certificate is effectively like an NFT that includes all the attributes and the validation of that performance, that decarbonization that that participant was able to deliver. And that digital carbon certificate then gets traded and invested in, by companies and stakeholders that need to show that they're investing in sustainability. And it provides an on-ramp for all people and all businesses everywhere in the world to join into this trillion-dollar carbon market and be able to actually be rewarded and contribute to making the world a more sustainable place for our future generations, which is a really important, outcome of this project. The NZT rewards can be distributed to tens or even hundreds of millions of users. You can imagine the need for decarbonization and the ability for someone to participate is literally any person or business in the world. So I want to give you a quick example of how NZT gets distributed and how NZT is rewarded and how it's used and demanded for generating these digital carbon certificates. So NZT is a token that is distributed to network participants. If you provide a node to the network, which is storing and managing and processing all the data that's being mined by data miners, you get NZT token rewards. If you are monitoring your energy consumption or your renewable energy production and providing data to the network, that's a process we call data mining, and you get NZT token rewards for data mining. So when you provide data into the network, as you know, data is extremely valuable. That's what provides the valuation, very high valuations for companies like Tesla, based on Metcalfe's law. So as we grow this network, to tens and hundreds of millions of people, that's how we distribute NZT tokens out into the market as an on-ramp. On the other hand, those participants that are reducing their carbon emissions get rewarded digital carbon certificates. And those digital carbon certificates come, as I mentioned, in the form of an NFT. And underlying that NFT, denominating that is the NZT token. So as you can see, we have a closed system here that works very similarly to something like Ethereum, where when you generate, mint, and trade an NFT, it's denominated in ETH that you need in order to be able to trade that. So very much like the way that works with Ethereum, that also works with NZT. And so what that does is it builds a network in the same way as Helium, but it creates demand for the token because there is this global volume of digital carbon certificates that's being generated by our users. And as our users generate more and more carbon certificates, we're decarbonizing planet Earth, we're contributing to sustainability, and we're building volume for NZT demand at the same time as creating an on-ramp for essentially all people and businesses in the planet to get into the Web3 space. So it's very exciting for a number of different reasons. We believe, tens and hundreds of millions of people will be very excited to participate in, as excited as we are in building it. Let me walk you through a quick example of, in addition to how the NZT gets distributed, what a typical user might do. So a user would be getting one of our IoT devices, which is an energy sensor. That goes on their solar panel or their electrical panel to measure their EV charging or measure their solar panel production. So as a consumer, If you are consuming carbon from your energy utility or driving your car, and you do something like install a solar panel or drive an EV, then you are going to be displacing that carbon emissions from your utility with clean, renewable energy that you have invested in and are generating. And so you get rewarded for that. It's measured, and you get issued this carbon certificate, which now has a value in this $1 trillion international carbon market. And so as a user, you get to sell and invest in providing these carbon products into the carbon market. The opportunity for scalability is tremendously huge, and the incentive is very big. A typical consumer today can receive on the order of hundreds of dollars per year, and in the future, as the value of carbon increases, then we can probably achieve a level of thousands of dollars per year. And in practice, unfortunately, the mechanisms are not there to be able to make it easy for people to join in and participate on that. And that's what we are doing with NetZero Token, is we are making it easy for everyone to come in and participate in that. Thank you very much for listening to me speak about NetZero Token Network and NZT and the promise of sustainability in carbon markets. And we have an amazing opportunity to do something that's not just good for Earth, but it's an incredible business opportunity for our future generations and our legacy. And I hope that you will come and participate with us and join in this amazing opportunity. Thank you.